My dear Bagginses and Buffins.
By the blood of our people, are your lands kept safe?
I see in your eyes the same fear that will take the heart of me.
So do all who live to see such times.
By all that you hold dear, this good earth.
There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting.
Yeah. Also, missed opportunity to say something along the lines of "that is the language of black speech, and I will not utter it," or something like that. Because I know we criticize a lot of the overuse of Tolkien or not Tolkien Jackson-esque lines, but that's one that works because people do say that. Like characters in Jackson's work and in here are not going to want to say that that language or speak that language. So I think it works in that sense. Whereas we have other ties to Jackson lines that just don't flow as well. But here, I think it would have worked. So that's my one little input on, hey, if you want to lean on the Jackson lines, which I do love those Jackson lines, here's one that you missed because it would have been fun to see that one there. I just have weird Hardfoot scene. The chant about nobody goes off trail after this, unless you have more in the library.
No,
Yeah.
nothing appropriate anyway.
Yeah. The Harfoots. I don't really like spending time with the Harfoots at this point in the show, so I'm fine with just.
Well, I'm kind of interested in their costumes, like what's going on here, like what inspired this too? Like, is this some sort of Celtic like where did the
Right.
I just want the author where they
I believe so I believe like their idea for the Harfoots I think is like Gaelic or Gaelic, and so maybe it's part, like I don't even know if they dug into it or if they just made it up. Now I want to clarify because I'm
those
really
guys look those costumes they look kind of like orc helmets. Some of them.
Yeah, so I actually thought when I saw these costumes that they were orcs attacking.
We cut back to the orcs, yeah.
Yeah. So I will say, like, I am interested with in-world mythology building and seeing the culture of the Harfoots. My problem is, from what I've learned about the Harfoots culture already, I don't think it makes much sense, and so I get turned off with the Harfoots, whereas I really like seeing more about the orc culture, because that one at least feels like it makes sense and fits together to some degree. The Harfoots one just seem all over the place, and this is like a prime example of like, what the heck is going on with these helmets? What's going on with this like little performative dance thing? And why is it not mentioned again later? Like it like literally happens and we don't even talk about it. Like it, you know what I mean? Like it's almost in there just to like show us like, oh, these Harfoots, they're weird, and we don't explore it any further. And I feel like that's not how it should go. Like we should get a little bit, like a little crumb about what's going on there, where they mention like this was passed on from something, and like then we can start to like try to connect these dots and like you know what I mean? Like otherwise it's just fun dances that might be based on real world mythology and not have anything to do with Harfoots at all. Like it just, I don't know. I just feel like they don't do a good job with the Harfoot society. Like they just want them to be weird and crazy and like this like caravan traveling group, and they just don't want to go too deep into it because it's a hard culture to write. It is what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
Whereas the orcs, I think they want to explore the orcs, and I think they're doing a good job with that exploration and like trying to build upon what we already know about these orcs and almost show us that there's more to it. And I like that, and that's why it's so big. Like it's such a big contrast between how they do the orcs with the Adar and how they do the Harfoots to me. So that's my problem.
I just have a comment that so we're elaborating on Largo and Marigold's relationship, and that Largo is an optimist and he's very proud of Nori. Like she sets her mind to it, she can do anything.
Yeah. Uh, again, this is like they say that, and then they're like, "Don't do anything."
Yeah.
So like, this is what I mean. Like, I like that moment is fine. Like that's in every single fantasy, sci-fi film, whatever. Like that is just a staple, and it's fine. Like no one's gonna have a problem with cliches all the time, like or not all the time, but like sometimes, and that's fine. But then their culture is like, don't do it, and so like having them say that, and then like being part of a group that's like, don't do it, and then even her parents are kind of like, you're putting us in jeopardy. Don't be a weirdo. Like just fall in line. Like it's just weird. I literally wrote here, it's time for Death Cult Festival time with the Harfoots. Also, there's a sub. Also, if you turn the subtitles on, there's a sex joke here. So the quote is this: "Be careful, the moon is full tonight." And so when you're having your shenanigans later on, it will be in full view of the camp.
Okay.
What is going on in this group? And I mean, I hate this scene so much that I've already done multiple shorts on this scene, and you can check them out on our shorts section. At least they gave Poppy's family a death that is sad and not funny. Cause like imagine if they had written this, but it's
And they
Poppy's
laughed.
family that like fell off a cliff
What
chasing
an
butterflies.
idiot.
Yeah, what a bunch of idiots. Sorry, Poppy. We couldn't be bothered helping them. And then they laugh at a guy that gets stung by a bee or something. Like what? Why are they laughing? Ah!
Yeah. Anyway, I also write, the stranger is kind of, I don't know, it's a bit, did you think it was kind of like almost too dumb for him to just set the star chart on fire?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit plot devicey. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's a little bit like, oh, we can't have this giving away info right now. We're gonna burn this so that no one knows.
And I said it's interesting he wasn't noticed earlier, seeing like how the Harfoot seem to be kind of vigilant about
Right. So
people
yeah,
wandering
this
into
is
the
kind
camp.
of part of the problem with their culture, right? Is that they're doing this death cult, and it's pretty loud, and any random passerby could hear this and like stumble upon them. Do they have scouts out and like looking? You know what I mean? Like it just. I wish they did more with it, and it can work. You can still have a weird Harfoot death cult. You can still do all this as long as you establish like how they handle certain situations. Other than we know that they hide, we know that, but how do they know to hide? Like, who is there? Is there a signal that someone like whistles like a little? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like someone needs to be cueing them in, and it would
Yeah, they should have shown that. Yeah.
right, and that would start establishing like how they actually work. Because at this point, I don't believe this society at all. It almost feels like this society was part of a society, like a city of Harfoots, and they left, and now they're just meandering through the world, and like hiding when they think there's enemies, but they don't really know what's going on. Like it doesn't feel like they've done this multiple times year after year for decades, the way that they try to present it. Also, it's not enough people to sustain a society. I'm just saying, like it's not enough of them.
Yeah.
It just unless they get together.
Well, actually, that's a good point, because you realize, like, I'm jumping back a bit, because Largo is talking about, like, when he first saw Marigold, like, what do you mean you just saw her then? Don't you, like, all live in the same village?
Right. So like, this is my problem with the Harfoots. I'm gonna title this entire section "Problem with the Harfoots" probably, but like this cannot work as a society, and that's why whenever it happens, I'm put off. It's not because of the actors, it's not because of what's happening. It's literally the in-show lore that they're trying to build, or lack of lore that they're trying to reveal. It doesn't make sense to me, and I just am not interested in just silly nonsense they think is fun for Harfoots to do. I want them to actually write something that they think works in world, and I don't think they've done that for these guys, and so I'm gonna be hard on the Harfoots until we see season 2 and see if they correct it. maybe they get together in a big group of Harfoots. Like all these different caravans go off and then they all
Yeah.
come back. But like you'd think about it, they lost Poppy's entire family. They need those people. Like they need them to survive. And they even say, like I think Eleanor says, what are we living for if we aren't living for our friends? And I'm like, yeah, like why are you guys traveling together and then not being friendly with each other and like helping each other? Like it doesn't make sense. Why do you guys even like each other if you're gonna just leave? If someone's like falling down and like they might die and you're just gonna say screw you, you go to the back. Like it's just insane to me. It's straight up insane. The backpack or the middle back? Okay, that line is funny. I think that line's kind of fun. I'm with everything else going on, I'm not gonna give crap on that line. That line's fun.
Well, actually, I think I got another comment. So, like, Malva is much harsher than Sadik, wanting to decaravan them, and Sadik makes exceptions to the rules. So, like, he's a little more.
He even
nicer.
says, he even is like, we can't just like decaravan them. Like we're gonna kill an entire family, you monster. And it's like, you did that to Poppy's family. There was a little bit of an avalanche, and you wouldn't go back and help them. Like, what? But you don't even know if they died from the rocks. They could have just been stuck in the snow for all you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just so messed. Anyway, yeah, that you're right. The hierarchy of this group I don't quite get it either. So Sadik is in charge, and he's got two women like constantly trying to tell him to do like bad shit. Like, like who are they? Are they like second and third in command, or like
I guess.
Are they
That's how I
his?
interpret it.
Are they his wives? Are they?
I don't know. I definitely interpret Malva to be like next in line. Yeah, which will be bad.
Yeah,
because she's evil.
Now, if they get some Games of Thrones shit going on, where like, I know that we know that this isn't gonna happen because we know what happens, but like she's like plotting to like like leave him somewhere. Oh, he got left behind. It'd be so easy to bump people off in this society. You just take them into the woods, kill them, and say they got left behind. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah.
So okay, I'm jumping to this elf uprising. So what do you think about what's going on here?
Elf uprising. Oh, is this the?
At the
Yeah. So we're skipping past just real quick. We're skipping past Isildur, and his dad and Elendil talking about how much of a screw up Isildur is.
I think I didn't have anything to say.
Yeah. So I have this also for episode 4, but I'll say it now just to give it another boost. Isildur sucks. He's one of the worst characters. I mean, look, nothing against the actor, and not even against the writing. Like they wrote they wrote him to be a sucky, terrible character that you hate. I hate Isildur. Elendil is awesome. Hermione is okay, but she's a bit of a shit disturber. But Isildur is straight up an awful person. Like, he's so selfish. He's so self-involved and weird. And also, he's, like, kind of getting possessed by something, but it's not clear what. And he hasn't even touched anything. He's just out in the water, and he's getting possessed by, like, I guess it's Halbrand. He's close to Halbrand, and Halbrand's, like, already possessing him. I actually have a note here. It's amazing that this guy, this is spoilers, by the way, it's amazing that this guy is going to kill Sauron at some point. I have no way. People are mad about Galadriel not being in tune with the character from Peter Jackson's trilogy. Isildur, no way does this guy take up his father's sword and cut off Sauron's hand. There's no way. I don't believe it. This punk kid, no. He's not. This is a fake Isildur. He's absolutely awful. Anyway, yeah. So we can skip that bit there. But I do want to say Elendil again. The actor is great here. His voice has a moment where it sounds just like Boromir. I love that aspect. I think he's doing a great job, and his character is likable. So I like that aspect because there's not a ton of Numenorians that are likable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's like the one rational guy in the entire show.
yeah, like they're almost set up to fail from an audience perspective because we have a deranged queen, we have Pharazôn kind of being a Littlefinger-esque like plotter in the background. We've
That's
got
true, yeah.
I don't know her name, but I call her Hermione. She's kind of
I was gonna say, I don't know her name. I don't remember her name either. But you're talking about the sister, right?
yeah, she sounds like Hermione, looks like Hermione. There's a scene where she's like, you know, I like the guy's like hitting on her, and she's just kind of being like a not a flirt, but like she's like rejecting him, but like in this like, I'm a strong, independent woman. Like, I don't go off with strange men, something like that. It's just like, okay, this is a weird character. Like, why even have her in the show? I don't even know what she's doing yet. Like, she does one thing later on in the show, and it's not even clear why it's her that's needed. It could have been anyone. So, anyway, and then we miss some flirting with Halbrand and Galadriel in jail. But yeah, let's cut to some action here. So yeah, you want to cut to the elf uprising.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I was just gonna say, I like it overall, but it's a good scene. But do you think Arondir is a Gary Sue? Like, he presumably his background is similar to everyone else here, similar training, similar upbringing, yet he is way more competent than all the other elves. Like, he's
Right.
the one jumping up there. He can take on the warg one-on-one. He can jump up and smash down that 10th thing when no one else can. He seems to be much better fighter than the other elves.
Right. Yeah. So I at first when you said it, I was like, oh no way, did I miss something? And then I just thought about it more as you were talking, and I was like, you know what? You're right, because one of the elves gets absolutely decimated by the warg, and they had a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, they have a spear. Unless they're Robert Baratheon, who doesn't know how to work his spear, apparently, they get absolutely decimated by a warg because they hold their spear up as if they're blocking a downward cut. But it's a warg. Just stab, point me. Like, I don't know what they're doing. So you're right. Now, yeah, you know,
He's the only one who can do anything really. Everyone else is useless. They're elves, presumably and warrior elves too. Presumably they should be good.
This is another one of those moments, I guess, where like I can come up with something that works for me, which is he was the last captured, which means he's the least starved.
Okay.
So he
maybe.
still has some strength, whereas everyone else has been here for a little bit longer, a couple days maybe, with very little water, maybe no food. So maybe that gives him a bit of an edge there. Because you're right, he pulls a very Legolas-y type move, and Legolas is straight up stacked, like he's overpowered, which is great. I love the original trilogy, so I'm not complaining, but it works there. Here, you're right, it comes
but
off.
you can almost justify Legolas because he's like a noble elf.
True,
like,
he
has the best of the best training.
Right, true.
Arondir's a grunt technically. Yeah. But he's still better than everyone else who should have the same training.
You're right. Yeah. So you could be onto something in that we just overlook it because this is one of the best scenes in this episode, and so we almost don't want to see that aspect. We would rather just watch the cool fight scene. But you could be onto something here. They do have Arondir, who, as you've said, is a nobody guy within the structure of the elves. He is turning out to be like not only good at fighting, but like a leader and all this kind of stuff. And it that only works if there's some place for that to grow into, the way that like Aragorn has to become the ruler he was born to be type of thing. There's no like vacuum for Arondir to fill in the power structure of the elven society. So like him like leading these people, like it doesn't actually do anything for his character down the road. Like, he's not growing into anything because he's going to be a nobody once he's done here anyway. Like, he's just going to run off with his wife, and that'll be the end of it, essentially. So yeah, no, you could be onto something. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that later on because he does seem to be gung ho about jumping back into battles all the time. You know, hopefully he does take some damage, or at least it has some struggles. That's where we'll see the test of it, if he ever actually struggles against an enemy. Because yeah, right now, you're right, with this scene and what happens next, he's looking like he's got a lot of plot armor on. That's for sure.
Yeah, everyone else, like, they just get slaughtered. Even the leader, he can't dodge an arrow from orcs in, like, straight up sunlight.
Right. So I actually have this down. I didn't write his name down, so I forget his name. But I just have like, hey leader elf, what do your elf eyes see? And then he just gets punctured by an arrow, so he didn't see anything. like they're supposed to like just be like so much. Their senses are so much better and heightened, and yet they kind of don't. They kind of act like humans with pointy ears in this scene. Yeah, you're right. This scene has problems. That's sad now. Now I'm sad. This episode, disappointment. Yeah. All right, I think that's the end there, right? We
yeah, I don't have anything else written. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, we're almost gonna survive, get shot, and then the orcs come at us, and we're trapped again. Yeah. All right, well, that's it for episode 3. Let us know what you thought about this episode down in the comments below. Has anyone out there revisited this show the way we're doing, just to see how it stands the test of time, even though it's only been like a year? So let us know down below.